Tom Paladino is a researcher and humanitarian seeking to make a difference in the world by providing people with the education and tools to restore optimal health and by helping enhance their quality of life. Tom began research with scalar energy after developing a deep admiration for the father of scalar energy research, Nikola Tesla. He was also able to study the work of an inventor, Hieronymus, who continued research on scalar energy. Hieronymus' major contributions included unbinding the RNA-DNA bonds of microbes plaguing the agricultural industry. The existence of such energy not found within the electromagnetic spectrum fascinated Tom. Inspired by these findings, he pursued a course of study seeking to better understand and subsequently harness scalar energy through the development of an instrument called scalar light, which utilizes free energy from the stars. Hello everybody, here we are for a new episode of the Healer Hub podcast. Today with me is Tom Paladino, and we are going to learn everything there is to know about scalar energy. Hey Tom, how are you?
I am well. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah, we're looking forward because I'm really curious about what you are doing. And more than anything, I would love to know your background story. How did you come to research scalar energy?
I was initially enthralled with the work of Nikola Tesla. There's a great scientist, Nikola Tesla, who was the first man to create and harness scalar energy instruments. So at a young age, I started to read about this new science. This is new. This is an emerging branch of physics. So what we're going to speak about is quantum. This is not taught at the university level. It was Nikola Tesla who gave me my first lesson. Tesla was the one who really inspired me.
Mm-hmm. So a bit more than that background, before you were interested in scalar energy, where did you come from? What is your professional background? Maybe how your childhood contributed to this moment.
Okay, well, in reference to scalar, I had an idyllic childhood, but I started to study Nikola Tesla at age 10 and 11. And I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So I had to, if you will, customize my academic approach. So initially, I had a broad education at the university level. Later, I would say probably 10, 12 years into my academic research and my academic career, I branched off into private research. And ever since the age of 32, 33, I've been conducting private research with this, if you will, instrument and this type of technology. So it's important to have a firm understanding and a good education. But eventually you have to study, if you will, on your own. Eventually you have to take this up as a matter of independent study. And that's what I've been up to for the past 30 years.
I love that. So it's basically a passion that you discovered at 11, 10, and the inspiration that you found in Nikola Tesla that brought you here.
Yeah, that was a blessing from God. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So what is scalar energy? Where does it originate? What is its nature?
Well, what is scalar energy? It's sunlight or starlight. Why is this important? Because this will be the new energy source of the future. Imagine if we could have unlimited energy from the sun and the stars. Not energy that you store in a battery, not energy from a windmill, the energy of a sun or the stars, which is clean energy. There's no chemical expression in any type of scalar energy. So it's the energy of the sun and the stars. Behind me are scalar energy instruments. I want to demonstrate to the world that, number one, this is valid. It's a true science. And then number two, it has great application. And I want people to try our sessions. And then number three, once people are convinced this works, we will change the world.
I love that. So you say that scalar energy is different from the electromagnetic field or the electromagnetic energy. So what does that difference consist in?
Yeah, you're right. There are two different energies. I believe the initial energy of the sun and the stars are scalar energy. And I believe electricity, magnetism is a derivative, or if you will, the inferior output of scalar energy. First, you start with scalar energy. and then it will degrade into electricity and magnetism. Behind me is a scalar energy instrument. I'll demonstrate. It acts like a star. If I hold in my hand a light bulb and I place it close to the instrument will illuminate the light bulb. That's the free energy that I'm experiencing with scalar energy. It's a star, if you will, a miniature star. Now, if we can do that here locally in a laboratory, then eventually we should be able to light up objects around the world. And that's my premise. Free energy for the world.
Mm-hmm. Free and infinite energy for the world?
Yes, it's infinite because it's from the stars. You'll never run out of stars. That's a good point. There's a limited amount of coal, a limited amount of electricity, a limited amount of wind for wind turbines. There's an unlimited number of stars.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful, very idyllic also. And of course, part of my mind says, well, how will people make money out of this? Why would they ever allow for the current form of energy to be replaced by scalar energy?
You're right. So this is something we'll have to overcome. And that's the key, general acceptance. The public must accept this. The public must say, yes, we yearn for this. Yes, we want this. There's a better way of doing things. Free energy, clean energy is going to help everybody. So this is what I'm trying to spearhead, a grassroots movement.
So on your website, you offer different types of programs, and you are helping people only by uploading their photo.
Yes.
Enhance
yes.
their being. How does that work? It's very intangible, very metaphysical.
Yes. It is metaphysical. Now, we are in the realm of metaphysics, meaning this is not a physical construct. It's non-physical information. We work with information or intelligence. There's no chemicals involved. When I'm working with this instrument, I work with a photograph of a person. This is my photograph. I never work with people. The instrument is only designed to work with photographs. This is the new science in which a piece of paper, a photograph, has my signature. My energy field is found on that photograph. And again, the instruments only work with photographs. So how's that possible? Well, with this new and emerging science, we've discovered that everything, including a photograph of a person, is the exact copy of the biological person. So I don't work with the biological person, I work with their energy copy or their bilocated version. And whatever I am experiencing biologically, that photograph is experiencing in real time simultaneously. It's quite profound. In other words, whatever my heartbeat is, that photograph would register my heartbeat, the exact number of beats per minute. Whatever my blood type is, this photograph would register that blood type. Whatever I experience, that photograph experiences simultaneously.
So help me understand, because this is really, really difficult for me to grasp. A photograph is a momentarily encrypted image.
Yes.
Printed
on
a support. So how can it feed? Or how are you in real time feeding the information of the photography?
You're right. In scalar energy, time, there is no time. If this photograph is 5 years, 10 years old, it doesn't matter. It's still me in the present moment. So we're having a conversation right now through our computer. We're communicating through the computer. Why can't you communicate through a photograph? You can. However, in the electromagnetic spectrum, Newtonian physics call it relativity, we are discussing in a time frame that is linear, so to speak. In scalar energy, there is no time. There is no passage of time. There's only the present moment. So what am I doing? People are teleporting to my laboratory. This is teleportation, in which a photograph representing a person can be treated. Not the person, their teleported version or the bilocated version.
But the biolocated person is feeding back into the reality of the person at that moment.
We believe so. It can't be proven. Now, keep in mind, I only work with scalar physics. I don't work with Newtonian physics. So if we're ever going to explain this, we have to explain it by a new definition, a new science, scalar. Scalar or quantum science is not electromagnetic theory. The two are different. So let's just, for the sake of this conversation, speak about quantum or if you will, non-Newtonian science. Now, my predecessor, a man by the name of Hieronymus, developed these instruments. He was successful. Actually, the United States, Canada, and Great Britain awarded him a patent because the instrument functions. And everything that the inventor described was, if you will, verified by experimentation. So this instrument allows us to access the quantum domain, the quantum dimension. We're no longer in an electromagnetic dimension. Now, you've heard some people say I can teleport, or there's a wormhole, or I'm, if you will, existing in another dimension. There is a different dimension, and I can access that dimension with this instrument.
Only one other dimension? Or are there maybe...
There's two dimensions. There's two, let's call them two energy fields. Electromagnetic, electricity and magnetism. And the other energy field is scalar. Now, all energy initiates from the sun and the stars as scalar energy, and then it will downgrade into electricity and magnetism. So many people, many scientists will look at a star and say that's a plasma field, and they're right. It's non-physical plasma or information. Once that energy leaves the plasma field from the center of a star, then it takes on a physical construct. It takes on a physical characteristic. So I'd rather be on the non-physical plane rather than the chemical physical. It's the non-physical that I work with, which is really a person's aura or their spirit. This is metaphysics. And that expression that you gave us initially is correct and accurate. This is metaphysics.
So I'm going to share with you how it lands on my side, and you will tell me if I burst a bit the concept. For example, you have a word, right? Like television. And the word stands as a concept for the essence of what television is. So this is what I'm getting of the of what you are sharing around the star and the plasma and the degrading of scalar energy into electromagnetic energy.
Yes. Very good.
Okay.
Yes. So what is electricity and magnetism? It's the inferior energy. The superior energy is scalar energy.
Mm-hmm. What kind of experiences or what kind of experiments and what outcomes did you see in your laboratory with the instrument?
Yeah. You know, when I instruct this instrument, I instruct it objectively. You keep in mind it's light, and light, you don't need to double think light. So what am I getting at? I can instruct this instrument to look for a virus. This is influenza A. This is a photograph of influenza A. And if I wanted to find influenza A in my aura, my quantum field, I would simply take this photograph of influenza A and match it up to my photograph. The two energy fields communicate. If I had influenza A, it would be identified in my quantum field, and the instrument would not only identify influenza A, but eradicate, remove it, disassemble it, cure it, if you will, transmute it, call it what you will. We're working with metaphysics in which we can take one signal or signature, influenza virus, find it and eradicate that, transmute that signal. Working with photographs, we can do anything. Why? A photograph is beyond human interpretation. There's no human comprehension here. A photograph of a microbe can serve to find, identify that microbe in me, my energy field, and eradicate. That's the simple and straightforward process, and it always works.
There is a resistance, okay, to what you're saying now, because I'm thinking then imagine viruses that are now considered to be mortal. Would you be able to for that in people?
Yes.
Or stage 4 cancer, or
I don't work with cancer. I only work with microbes, and I'll tell you why. I have photographs of microbes. See, there's no human interpretation. That's the HIV virus. If I had HIV, I could use this photograph of HIV. These are magnified photographs of viruses, and the two photographs would communicate. Once again, the energy field or the signature of HIV could be identified in my quantum field, my aura. And if I had that in my energy field, it would be eradicated with this instrument. We've had good success with people. After we work with people with the HIV photograph, they tell us they no longer have symptoms of HIV.
But they are still HIV positive.
No, they're not. They're no longer HIV positive. Here's one test result that I have from a person I work with. After being years of HIV positive, they had no detectable viral load.
This is this is beyond. I like, a big part of me cannot really grasp or accept this. How many people have you worked with? For example, maybe this is absolutely.
I'll give you for instance. This is a clinic in Delhi, India. I've been working with this clinic. It's an HIV/AIDS clinic. Om Prakash HIV/AIDS clinic in Delhi, India. I've worked with over 5,000 people at this clinic. After working with these people now, I only work with their photographs, so it's not medicine. It's a new way of looking at energy healing through the photograph. Everybody that I've worked with is saying that they feel better. If some people went as far as to have a follow-up PCR test, those test results are negative, no viral load.
If or did they do the test afterwards?
Many of them did a follow-up PCR test. If they could afford it, they did a follow-up PCR test.
But what I'm hearing you saying is that it wasn't really, quote unquote, the number, and then all the photographs of, let's say, 100 people were exposed to your device, and then the same 100 people took the test, and 100% of the 100 people were HIV negative.
Yeah, I'll give you, for instance, I've worked with over 5,000 people at this clinic, 5,000 people. 30 of them, approximately 30 of them had follow-up PCR tests, 30. And everybody who had a follow-up PCR test, none of them have a viral load.
Sorry, none of them had a viral?
None of them have a viral load. No viral load. None of them.
No viral? I'm not getting that.
No viral load, undetectable.
Okay.
30 people had a follow-up PCR test after I worked with their photograph. Those 30 people have told me they have no viral load. No viral load.
But it may be the same way in which the antivirals work, right? People are still HIV positive. It's just that it's not transmittable, it's not detectable as such, but they are still HIV positive.
I have to be open-minded about everything. I have to be scientific about this. I can't be jaundiced. So what's the point? I have to wait for other testimonies to come in. We've had great testimonies so far, but mind you, nobody can prove my work. This has never been done before. I have no peers. Nobody has proven or disproven my work. My work with photographs is unique. Nobody is doing this. Nobody has this type of instrument. Nobody has my approach.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned that scalar energy is not related to time and space. So,
right. Very good. So, scalar energy is everywhere. It's omnipresent. It's everywhere. And if it's everywhere, then it connects everything, and it does. So there is no point A and point B. There's only one point. Now, we are separated from a distance in this electromagnetic spectrum. If we were in a scalar energy spectrum, you would be in my chair and I would be in your chair, so to speak. We would be pre-connected. So you have to think that this is different. This is metaphysics, as you mentioned. In electromagnetic spectrum, they have point A and point B. In a scalar energy spectrum, everything is interconnected. There's only one point. Mm-hmm. You become holographic with the universe. You are becoming holographic.
A sort of ubiquity.
Yeah, you become, it's the alpha and omega. You become incorporated with everything.
I saw on your website that you are helping people by exposing their photography to this instrument, that you are helping them replenish their nutrients,
yes,
reestablish their hormonal health, lose weight, so activating their metabolism.
Yes.
I'm wondering how exactly did you help them?
Yes.
And again, if you have data, if you have tangible results of people who are overweight and then they lost all that weight.
Yeah, that's a good point. How do we do this? We can impart the information of nutrients. Now, you're not eating anything. Everything is non-physical. This is the new metaphysics way of working with energy to deliver a nutrient, not to eat nutrients. I'm going to hold up beta carotene. Mm-hmm. If I wanted beta carotene, I would take this photograph. This is magnified. And I would download it into my photograph. So what's the point? I now have the energy of beta carotene. If I place these two photographs in the instrument, beta carotene is now instructing me. It's going into my quantum field. The photograph of beta carotene needs no human expression. There's no human interpretation. It's a photograph of beta carotene. My photograph is me. The two photographic force fields communicate. And in so doing, I receive the energy of beta carotene. Now, I'll speak for myself. I do this 24 hours a day with nutrients. I am not hungry.
So you don't?
Why? I don't have to eat that much. Sometimes I only eat one meal a day. Why? Because I'm receiving my nutrition through energy. It's not chemical. It's a new branch of science that we now realize we have an aura or an energy field. We're not working with the biological field. We're working with the aura or the informational field, so to speak.
It's all very surreal. I'm wondering, for example, I'm a woman in my mid-30s, right? My AMH is decreasing. If we were to place the photography of this anti-Mullerian hormone on my picture, we could replenish that hormone?
Yes. 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 I'll explain. This is my friend. Her name is Patricia. And I'll explain this. If Patricia gave me her photograph and Patricia wanted progesterone, this is simply all we do. We take a photograph of progesterone and download it into Patricia. That's an energy field. Now, after I did this, many women say that they feel better, or they no longer have night sweats. Why? Well, it's hard to say. Nobody can explain this. This has never been done before. But by taking photographs of female hormones and downloading that, or imparting that intelligence into a woman's aura, or their, if you will, quantum field, they feel better. Now, what they experience is not a chemical experience. Everybody I've ever worked with, they said, well, this is different. I've never experienced this before. Of course, you've never been treated with a photograph before. So it's not as if you're ingesting or you're taking shots or you're taking some type of drug. It's a new way of administering intelligence to your aura.
Did she do a before and after progesterone test, Patricia?
Some women have. Patricia has not. Some women have. I have to rely upon people and their testimony. That's a good point. So on account of the fact that this is new and groundbreaking, people send me testimony. Sometimes they'll send me lab reports. That's the only way, that's the only evidence I have. Now, a testimony is subjective. Mm-hmm. Well, this is a new science. It's never been defined. So until this has been defined objectively, then we have to rely upon subjective testimonies.
But there is a way. I mean, this is very tangible. For example, my AMH is a certain number. And then if I was to send you my picture and we would do this, then we could tangibly see whether my AMH level increased or not.
Yes, you could. But then, yes, you could. And you're open-minded. But some people will say, well, how is it that we can attribute a photograph to somebody's biological character? So that you have to be open-minded about this, because we never work with people. So somebody who just would discount this could just say, well, you can't prove this chemically, that a photograph produced a chemical change. And to that person, I say, you're right. I cannot prove this in a chemical sense. This is not a chemical. I cannot prove this according to the standards of scientific testing. A photograph has never been tested. So to underscore, this is a new science and it's never been proven.
But as we
or disproven.
As you were saying at the beginning, the photograph does feed into the actual body, right? By eradicating a virus, by helping them improve their nutrients. So then that means that there could actually be a very tangible result that would show, because AMH levels, right? That, like, this is something, okay, let's say that progesterone levels or estrogen levels, they can be impacted by the food that you consume, but AMH, no. AMH is something that just decreases with age. So for me, if you were, for example, to carry out this kind of a research, it's very tangible and irrefutable. And even if people maybe don't have the capacity to understand how it is happening, still the before and after tests would speak
Yes.
for themselves, right?
It does. We do have some people on our website. We have testimonies that show before and after tests, but it still is subject to interpretation. And I want to further this. We cannot measure this energy yet. I don't think we ever will be able to. See, you can measure a liter, a quart. You can measure a mile or a kilometer. You cannot measure the infinite.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to measure scalar energy. It's infinite.
Yeah, 100%.
So, very good. So you have So you have to look at the before and after results. And if you're open-minded, I am. And if you look at the before and after results, and if people say, well, I no longer am HIV positive, I am now HIV undetected, no viral.
This is very triggering for me. I'm going to tell you right now, because like we can talk about the AMH. I'm very open, but HIV, mostly also because I imagine that it's such a difficult thing for people to live with HIV. And I really don't, I hope that this works. I hope that it works, but let's talk about AMH. Okay. If that's for you.
Let me say this. There are testimonies on my website. It'd be best if people just look at our testimonies on the website. And keep in mind they're subjective.
Mm-hmm. Because they are testimonies. So that's what I'm kind of proposing for somebody. I have a very developed spiritual metaphysic, and I believe in all sorts of things that are intangible. But also there are things that, as you said, we cannot quantify the energy. Right.
That's right.
That's beautiful. Just like, spontaneous remissions of stage 4 cancer. Like if you're familiar with the
exactly
Joe Dispenza's work, right? Like nobody can explain exactly how it's happening, but they have people who were stage 4 cancer, and then after the event or after the session, they are no longer stage 4 cancer. So that's very tangible. And in this way, I think that it would be very helpful if you were able to, take just like normal research, take a number of people and then take them through a similar method, which is exposing their photo with, let's say that it's AMH, it's women in their 30s and their 40s, and then see the actual tangible results.
Yeah. We've done that. One woman at a time. We've done that. In a group, no, because the women don't want to be a part of a group study. I have to wait for a group, independent of my work, a group to come forward and say, okay, test us, or we'll test ourselves. My website is designed for one person at a time. Mm-hmm. It's not a clinic. I'll never run a clinic. Why? This is not a medical clinic. I can't work on those, if you will, guidelines. So for now, I have to rely upon independent, individual testimonies. In the future, if a clinic comes to me, I'll say, great, now you perform the experiment. That way I'll take, if you will, my suggestion out of the equation. I don't want it to be biased. So it really, if a clinic's going to come forward, they have to be unbiased and they have to work independently of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%. I do hope that happens.
We hope it will come to fruition someday, but for the time being, it's one person at a time. We are grassroots. We're all grassroots, and that's what it takes right now.
But maybe it starts like anything else, right? It starts with a person. It starts at the grassroots level, and then somebody will pick it up, and we'll see more into that. The scalar energy also helps people to balance their chakra system. So
yes.
in the meridian. So if you can speak a bit about the very fact that you believe in the chakra system.
Yes. Yeah. Chakras are very real. You're absolutely right. I do believe in chakras. Chakras, we have 7 chakras. Now, the chakras are composed of scalar energy. And that's why this instrument works. It works because it's scalar energy downloading into our chakras or downloading into our brain waves. I've always contended the reason why Western medicine does not quite understand consciousness or chakras or chi or prana, they've never opened themselves up to this type of concept. Consciousness is very real. We have 7 chakras that are guided by our consciousness. And you put all that together, I believe this instrument can influence our brain waves and our chakras. So again, if this white light can be illuminated with this instrument, and this is a chakra balancing, you can see that's an illumination.
It's almost imperceptible because of the light. So the light reflects the bulb.
I am being illuminated, so to speak.
Yeah. With the red one worked well.
And I'll try the red. I'm being illuminated by this energy.
Yeah.
That's a chakra balancing, so to speak. Well, if I can illuminate a light bulb, right? Then I can illuminate my chakras and my brain waves. That's my contention.
Why are you working with the photography and not with the human body? And how are you linking? Is it the same, like you just expose what you just did, your photography, to the instrument behind you?
Good point. I've never worked with human beings. The instrument is only designed to work with photographs. I've never worked with a human being ever in my life. It works with photographs, so I'm going to stay with photographs. Eventually, if somebody else wants to conduct this experiment, they can start working with people. I've never worked with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's new and different. To just highlight, I placed a photograph inside the instrument. You can see that behind me.
Yeah.
Well, the instrument only works as photographs. I can't have a person sit in there. It's never worked that way. The instrument's only designed to work with photographs.
Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Maybe in the future it's gonna be possible, but yeah, for the time being is only a photograph. So we're talking about the chakras and then the meridians. So for the chakras, it illuminates the chakras, and then the meridians, it just realigns the meridians, or?
That's correct. And why do I say that so freely? The energy has an inbuilt intelligence. I believe this energy is from God. There's no human reasoning involved with my work. There's no human input. The energy does all the work and scale it. Now, that's great because I don't have to, if you will, troubleshoot. I don't have to diagnose. I don't diagnose. I'm not in the medical field. The energy will do all the diagnosing. The energy does everything it needs to do. Identify, transmute, heal. All operations, all functions are through the energy, devoid of human input.
And this happens instantaneously, and it takes only one exposing the photography to the instrument.
That's correct. It's instantaneous. That's correct. Yes.
I'm curious about see in my logical brain. Do you have, so you said that you work only with viruses and microbes and then hormones and nutrients.
Yes.
So that means that is there a finite database, or is it because you are working with the infinite creative energy, then any type of virus can be identified?
That's a good point. Any type of virus can be identified, but I have to instruct the energy. So if I have a photograph of influenza A, or I have a photograph of papillomavirus, it always takes a photograph to instruct the instrument. Now, remember, the photograph, there's no human reasoning. So all I have to do if I wanted to eradicate the human papillomavirus from me is just match up my photograph to the human papillomavirus. So to explain, I have thousands of photographs of microbes in my laboratory. And here's one photograph, if you will, of 15 different viruses. If I wanted to eradicate those 15 different viruses, I would take my photograph and match them up or have them communicate with this collage of microbes, that collage of viruses. I have hundreds of thousands of microbes, photographs of microbes. That's what makes this work. There's no human input. They're only photographs communicating with one another.
But what I'm hearing you say is that there has to be a photo of the virus or the...
That's right. That's correct. Because I have to instruct it. It's like anything. Whether it's a car, a computer, a plane, you have to mandate it. You have to control it. If I wanted to eliminate streptococcus, I would place my photograph in the quantum field with that. So whatever I place inside the instrument will interpret the microbe and communicate it with me. No human interpretation. It's all divine knowledge.
Does it work the other way around? Because for the nutrients, what I'm hearing you saying is that you are downloading the nutrients, or you are replenishing the hormones.
Yes.
God forbid, could you give somebody a virus by exposing their photo to the virus?
No, I'll tell you why. I don't know how to create life. I don't know how to create life. Now, would it be possible? Probably. But the instrument's only designed, if you will, to shatter or break down or confuse a virus or a bacteria.
Yeah, I'm a bit conflicted by the idea of free will, if you want, right? In a certain way, the way that I understand the world and I project the world outside is that we get different things based on the contracts that we came into this world. And I don't know how much you believe in the idea of karma, for example, right? So then, in a way, God spontaneously, miraculously eradicates certain forms of disease.
I have to say this, that scalar energy is a gift from God. God has given us this invention, this type of technology. Now, why would God give us intelligence, intellect, to help mankind, to improve our condition? So I don't believe God wants suffering. And I believe God gives us avenues, abilities to alleviate suffering. So this takes a good deal of prayer. I want people to pray upon this. Consider what a great gift from God this is. To me, this is an incredible gift from God.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm really curious about it, and I think that this is the most important thing, to kind of keep an open mind and be curious around things. And you never know, right? At the end, the placebo effect itself, or the faith, is also an extremely important mechanism of spontaneous.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
So I'll say this in closing. This is a new and emerging branch of physics. Tesla discovered this initially. I'm trying to follow up with that of Tesla and a few other inventors. And the only way we can prove it right now is by testimonies, or people prove it to themselves. This is not accepted by academia. You can't measure the energy, and nobody has ever proven my work or disproven my work. I'm alone in this field right now.
Mm-hmm. Whom else apart from Tesla used the scalar energy?
I learned from a family in the United States, Hieronymus, but they're all deceased. I carry on with their work. And then there's a few other inventors who are likewise deceased. Very few people have ever had a functioning instrument.
Mm-hmm. So you inherited the instrument from them?
Yes,
or you read?
I did. I inherited instruments and their notes in their laboratory. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Maybe there are other people who are equally interested and would like to be mentored by you and to co-create with you.
Yes, I'm willing to mentor people, but it takes time. I'll be the first to say this is not easy. There's no shortcuts. If you want to learn this, you have to dedicate a great deal of time and effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I imagine that people who are deeply passionate like you were and who believe in this and who are open and maybe also God-driven towards the scalar energy would be happy to support you.
Thank you. You're right. It's a calling. Now, I've been at this for 50 years. This is not easy. It's work. It's work. So I want to offer your audience, anybody in the world can sign up. We're giving away 15 days of free sessions. We give away free sessions on our website. We want people to experience this. And all you're going to do is send your photograph. You can send your pets, family members if you want. We can treat the entire family. Send it to scalarlight.com. And that way, we'll work with you. We'll work with your family. No questions asked. There's no cost. They send your photograph. And then for 15 days, you'll have this energy. You'll have a chakra balancing, the nutrient program, and we'll transmute the microbes, the germs. And then after 15 days, you have the working knowledge of how you feel. You decide how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would also be equally curious if people could send you tangible, right? Like what I was saying about,
yes.
The test results before
yes.
and after the 15 days, because I think that
please,
would be
please. I welcome that. Yes, I want their feedback because that's the only thing we have to go by. How do you prove a photograph? Well, right now, the only way you can prove this is through a testimony. Subjective, but at least it's a beginning body of evidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you for being here today. Where else online can people find you?
Just make it the website. On my website, you'll see at the very bottom all of our social media channels. Go to scalarlight.com. That's our focal point.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. The best way to support the Healer Hub podcast is to review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and share it with your people. Thank you so much. Deeply grateful for your support.